Hello, everyone. The new year has begun, and that means confidential financial disclosure season, or 450 season, is underway. Thank you for tuning in to this demonstration on how to navigate to OGE's 450 resources. I'm Megan Kunkel, one of OGE's Institute for Ethics and Government, or IEG, training instructors. My colleague, senior instructor Patrick Shepard, is working behind the scenes to produce this live broadcast. Many thanks, Patrick. As a reminder, this demo is designed to show you where to locate useful 450 resources. So we're not going to be doing any practice reviews of 450 reports. The IEG will, however, host sessions later in the 450 season to demonstrate how to analyze certain entries in annual reports. If you have specific questions about 450 reports you are currently reviewing, those questions would be best directed to ethics officials within your agency or to your OGE desk officer as appropriate. If you have questions about what is discussed during this demo, please do reach out to the IEG at trainingregistration@oge.gov. After viewing, we would also appreciate you returning to the course page for this demo to complete the course evaluation. And thanks in advance for your feedback. Confidential financial disclosure is one of the primary tools used to detect and prevent conflicts of interest in the executive branch. OGE supports your agency's confidential financial disclosure programs by creating and maintaining resources to help you develop the skills of new reviewers, hone your own skills, support your filers, and navigate the filing season effectively. We hope this demo will leave you more familiar with OGE's website to locate these resources on your own, and perhaps also introduce you to new ones that will help you this 450 season and in the many other aspects of your ethics work. So we're going to begin on OGE's website, which is located at www.oge.gov. Now, our website has a wealth of information to help you carry out your role as an ethics official. We will start with an overview of the homepage and how to search for and locate relevant 450 resources from there. And once we have covered OGE's website, we will move on to the Institute for Ethics and Government's website and share some tips and tricks to utilize its resources as well. So you can see from the OGE homepage that we have many tabs at the top to assist you in your search for resources. To help reduce the number of clicks it takes to access content, as we have lots, you'll see here that when you click on one of the tabs, you can view the subpages contained within it. Now, for the purposes of this demo, we are going to focus on the tabs Resources for Ethics Officials and Resources for Federal Employees. The Resources for Ethics Officials tab was designed for you and is organized around managing effective ethics programs, as well as providing you information on OGE's dual roles of oversight and support. So I'm going to click on one of these pages just to show you what its content how its content is structured. So we're going to look at the financial disclosure page. Now, most pages within this tab have the following or similar content. So you'll see here up at the top, you'll have the specific program element or topic and a summary of its purpose. Below that, you'll have responsibilities of the designated agency ethics official or DAO listed, key legal authorities, key advisories. So this would be OGE's legal advisories or program advisories on the topic or program element. And then we also have resources here. And I'm going to scroll as slowly as possible, not to make us all dizzy. But this is a rather long page because we have a lot of resources on here. Again, more resources. Nearing the bottom. There we go. Now, on most of these pages, the last section will be an agency practices section. And this is a list of practices that agencies have found effective in managing their ethics programs for this specific program element or topic. At the very bottom, you'll see a return to top link. So we'll click that to go back to the top of this page as we do want to take a closer look at it. So as we scrolled through, you probably noticed that there are resources for both public and confidential financial disclosure on this page. So for 450 season, you want to make sure you're looking at the confidential financial disclosure resources, but you might want to note this for the upcoming public financial disclosure filing season as a page that you should come back to for additional help. So the first thing I want to highlight here is under the key legal authorities, you'll see a direct link to the Electronic Code of Federal Regulations, so to OGE's regulations on executive branch financial disclosure requirements. So if you want to take a closer look at this language, you can click the link here, and it will take you again to the Electronic Code of Federal Regulations, specifically to Part 2634. Now, if you're looking for the specific language on confidential financial disclosure reports, this is a very big part. So you'll want to go to the table of contents, and then you can scroll down to look specifically at subpart I on confidential financial disclosure reports. Back on the financial disclosure page, we're going to scroll down to the resources. Again, trying not to make us all dizzy. So you want to scroll past the public financial disclosure resources. But again, flag that to come back to. And now we've reached the confidential financial disclosure resources. So from here, you can access the latest versions of OGE's Form 450. So if you do provide your filers PDF versions or Excel versions of this form, you would be able to find them here. And you would simply click on the version that you wish to see. Usually when you click on these links from our pages, there'll be a pop-up window that lets you know that it's downloaded to your computer. So if you don't see anything, you might want to check your downloads folder, and that's where it will be. But for me, which makes it easier for this demo, as I can quickly open things and it opens into a new browser. But I just wanted to flag that that will probably not be your experience. So if you click on it and nothing happens, remember to check your downloads folder. All right. And scrolling down under the guidance section, we have the biggest whopper of a resource, I think, the Confidential Financial Disclosure Guide. So again, you can click this and download it. And I just want to flag that if you've been reviewing 450 reports for a while now and often refer to a guide saved on your computer, please do double check that you are using the most current version, and that would be listed here, and the publication date would be October 2023. So you want to make sure you're using that one. Again, there's a lot in this guide to help both reviewers and filers, and it's something that is important to have open as you're reviewing OGE Form 450s. Underneath this, there is a worksheet for determining which position should file a confidential financial disclosure report. And this can be really helpful when you're preparing for your annual filing season. So if you want to come back to this later on in the calendar year as you're gearing up for the next season, you can do so. This is also good to look at throughout the year if you have new positions that you need to analyze, or if you're perhaps looking back at some of the positions that you had previously determined should file or should not file. And this walks you through that determination. And there's also a link to the IEG's Confidential Financial Disclosure Review curriculum. And for your awareness, we're now calling these curricula courses of study. So when you click on this, it's going to say Confidential Financial Disclosure Review Course of Study. So we've renamed these. And what this does is it provides an overview of confidential financial disclosure, practice for conducting reviews, and resources for conducting substantive legal reviews of OGE Form 450s. So there are guides here, such as the Confidential Financial Disclosure Guide. There are job aids, the one we just looked at, and there are also mini training videos. So we're going to come back to this course of study when we visit the IEG website later on in this demo. The final section on agency practices captures how some agencies manage their financial disclosure programs. So you may get inspiration from some of the practices listed here. I want to point out this fifth bullet. Use a checklist in the review process to spot critical, recurring, substantive, and technical issues. So this may be something for you and your colleagues to consider as you were reviewing reports this annual filing season. Also, the bullet below it, send an acknowledgement to financial disclosure filers upon completion of the review and certification. Maybe many of you are like, of course, we should always do this, and that's great. It seems like a simple practice, but it's one that I found when I was at an agency really helped to build rapport with our filers. They liked hearing from us directly, and we also would send confirmations when we received their report as well. And that was helpful because, they only do this once a year. So they would get these automatic emails from the system that they were using. And sometimes they thought those were spam. So it was helpful for us to reach out from our ethics inbox to give it a little bit more of a personal touch and to let them know we really appreciate you fulfilling your requirement. We might be in touch with you if we have follow-up questions, but the ball's in our court now and we're going to begin our review. So next we will go to the conflicts analysis and resolution page. And we've used the return to the top to come back to the top of our page here. And there are a couple of different ways that we can get to this page. So we can click on the Resources for Ethics Officials tab, and we can go to the page from there. Or because we're already on a page within this tab, we have access to this navigation panel on the left-hand side. And you'll see here the page is also present, so we can click on it from this navigation panel. And we're going to scroll down to this page's resources. So there are several things here that we wish to highlight. First is the Analyzing Potential Conflicts of Interest page. Now, this page contains a series of guidance documents that provide conflicts analyses for various types of employment interests, investment interests, and liabilities. Now, it is helpful to use this page alongside the Confidential Financial Disclosure Guide. So, for example, when reviewing an asset on an OGE Form 450, you can first look to the guide to ensure it is reported correctly and thoroughly, and then you can look at this page for how to analyze for potential conflicts of interest. And you'll see the documents are linked to by their titles, and then underneath, you'll find the information that each document provides. Next, there is an IEG course entitled Ethics Laws Applicable to Special Government Employees. And this video provides a helpful overview of SGEs and introduces the resources under the course, the resource under the course materials. And this resource summarizes the ethics provisions, including those related to confidential financial disclosure that apply to SGEs in comparison to the provisions that apply to other executive on my page with the YouTube video. We'll talk about that later on too. And lastly, there is a job aid to help you determine whether an investment fund is registered under the Investment Company Act of 1940 or the 1940 Act. Now you will notice on this page that there's a link to the legal research search collection, and we're going to take you to that collection and we're going to talk about it a bit further. But I just wanted to remind you that there are different ways to locate information on OGE's website. It's structured to give you different avenues to take. So you do not necessarily need to memorize my routes that I'm sharing with you in this demo, but you can be reassured that if you click around on our website, you can probably find your way to the things that you need. But hopefully from this demo and from coming to our website more often, you'll find the best possible way to quickly access what you're looking for. And before we leave this page, just want to again point out the agency practices section. All right, so now let's navigate to OGE's legal research search collection. So again, you could go down to the resources here and select that link. You can also, because we're in the resources for ethics officials tab, you have access to this navigation panel. So you see the legal research search collection as part of this tab and as part of the panel. So you could click it here. But I think one of the ways that most people come to our legal research search collection is by clicking this tab and then selecting this Conduct Legal Research button. So now we are in the legal research search collection. So again, many different ways to get to this collection. And once you are here, even if you've used this collection before, I just want to point out that we have some resources here to make sure that you have everything available to use it most effectively. So if you are looking for some help in how to use this collection, there's a using this collection section with different resources and training videos. And then there's also this search tips. And if you click on that, it's going to have a drop down that shares the 4 main ways to review materials found here. And then there's also this tool that you can come to share exactly what you're here to do. So it says, I want to, and if you click on it, it will give you different options. So let's say you're here to conduct targeted research on a specific topic, like confidential financial disclosure. So you can click on that and click go, and then it will give you very specific questions on how to conduct your, specific instructions on how to conduct your search. So again, if you have questions about how to use this collection, you can view all of these resources here. But again, I think the more that you come to this collection and use it, the more familiar you will be with it, and you'll find the ways in which it gives you exactly what you're looking for, the best possible ways for you. Okay, so you can search using the main search bar. Now this will search through the contents of individual PDF documents found in this collection. So this will be our legal advisories, program advisories, executive orders, maybe some judicial opinions. So it's going to search through all of that, as well as through the text that appears in the search results table below. Now, if searching with filters, OGE uses 4 filters to categorize the contents of this collection. So the documents are categorized by their type, topic, agency, and date. Now, these filters can help you limit your search if you are looking for something specific. So for example, let's search for confidential as a topic. So we could scroll through here and select it, but I'm going to go ahead and just type it in so it gives it to me more quickly. There we go. And this number indicates how many documents within the collection are tagged for confidential financial disclosure. So I'm going to click on that. So we've already narrowed down our search a little bit. And then you'll see that there are 121 documents. But let's say we want to narrow this further, and we only want to show OGE's legal advisories. So we can go to the type filter, and we could type it in, but we also see that it's here, so we could quickly click on that, and you'll see 91. So that indicates that there are 91 legal advisories related to confidential financial disclosure. And then below, you'll see these resources available in the table. Now in the table, you'll see that the resources are automatically shown by date. So the most recently published documents will be at the top. You can change how the results are displayed by simply clicking on the header. So the latest document here is from April 2024. If we want to see the earliest, we can click on the date header, and we can see that the earliest document is from 1992. Now, using the filters is helpful when you are looking for a specific document type, such as legal advisories. However, if you are searching the collection to retrieve a specific document that you know the title of, maybe it's a legal advisory that you come to over and over again, you can search a bit more efficiently by using this little search bar here. And this little search bar, the difference between it and the main search bar is that it only searches the contents of this table. So titles would be something that you would need to know, or words in a title, in order to pull up what you're looking for. So again, if you know of a legal advisory that you reference often and you want to quickly pull it up, let's say it's LA 2404, you can type it in there and then it will automatically pull up that legal advisory for you. And then to access it, you simply click on the title and it will download. So these are just a couple of ways to navigate this collection. Remember, there are helpful resources to consult on how to use it, and the more you do, the more familiar and helpful it will become to you. So we have shown you how to search for our legal advisories, but several of those helpful for reviewing 450s have been consolidated in a resources document, and we sent this out as a listserv earlier this month. So I'm going to show you where to find that listserv message and that list of legal advisories. But before we leave the OGE homepage, I do want us to take a look at this other tab, Resources for Federal Employees. Now here you will see links to several pages. And the page towards the middle of the tab, Resources for Financial Disclosure Filers, is the one that we're going to look at in this demo. So we are showing you this page for OGE resources that you can share with your filers. Please note that, like the financial disclosure page we just looked at, it contains information for both public and confidential financial disclosure filers. So you will need to scroll down a little bit to the confidential financial disclosure filers section. All right, so here we have links to the latest confidential financial disclosure guide, as again, this is helpful for both reviewers and filers to access. There is a, filer aid on sector funds. So this explains what a sector fund is and why that information is important to filers. There are copies of the OGE Form 450 if your filer needs to access the PDF or Excel versions. And then there are also training videos that the IEG has developed to assist new filers and annual filers in filing their financial disclosure reports. So remember, this section is specifically designed for filers. You can provide links to these resources in your trainings and in other communications with filers. So now we're going to navigate to the IEG website from OGEs. First, we're going to come back to the top of our homepage, and then we can access the Institute for Ethics and Government website, and again, in a couple of different ways. It's going to be in this Resources for Ethics Officials tab, and this is the most efficient way, I think. But you'll see here this red button under the Legal Research Search Collection that says Visit the Institute for Ethics and Government. Now, if you were looking for a different way, or maybe you were focused more on the left-hand side of the screen, you saw this View All in Resources for Ethics Officials link. You can click that, and you can also find links to the Legal Research Search Collection and to the IEG website here. So again, lots of different routes to get to these resources. So welcome to the Institute for Ethics and Government homepage. From here, you can directly access some of our relevant resources by checking out our What's New section, the bottom left-hand side of the screen, or our Featured Resources section on the bottom right-hand side. Now, our Featured Resources section, we're going to try to update throughout the year with resources that might be relevant to something that programs are doing. So right now it would be 450 season. In just a couple of months, it'll be public financial disclosure season. And as you can see, we'll be trying to keep track of what's going on, what things you all are working on in the ethics community to keep up and to provide you the resources that you need. In the What's New section, this includes some of our recent listserv messages announcing our live training opportunities. It also includes that listserv message that I mentioned earlier with the list of legal advisories and other 450 resources you might find helpful this filing season. So you can see that listed here. And if you click on the news item, it will either open, the listserv message or another page to give you more information on that particular news item. So this is the listserv message that we sent out earlier this month, and it's a compilation of our 450 resources. And that list of legal advisories is towards the bottom here. Another thing under our What's New section I want to highlight is that we have a new on-demand training for supervisors. So if you have supervisors or other intermediate reviewers helping you to review 450s, this is a great training to direct them to. So if you click on the news item and then you click on the link to the course page, it will take you to the content to share with them. So let's scroll back to the top of our homepage, and you'll see that our new homepage, and this has really only been out now for a few months. Time is difficult to capture recently, but our new homepage does mirror that of the OGE homepage, so it does look very similar. So you'll see here up at the top these different tabs. And in today's demo, we're going to look more closely at the Schedule tab and the Course Library. So first, let's look at the schedule. And from here, you can see our upcoming live training opportunities presented on a calendar. So again, to learn more about a particular opportunity, you can find it within the calendar and then click on it, and this will take you directly to its course page. So for instance, this is today's demo on January 22nd. If you were to click on this, it'll take you to the course page. Also want to point out that we have another live training opportunity next Wednesday, January 28th. And I'm going to click on this. It'll take you to the course page. So this will be a live how-to session. And this is a new on-demand offering. It provides an introductory training to 18 U.S. Code 208 and its elements. And then it also introduces a new job aid that's been developed, the 18 U.S.C. 208A job aid. And in the upcoming live how-to session, the attorney who developed the job aid is going to demonstrate how to do 18 U.S.C. 208A analyses using the new job aid. So if you're interested in attending that, you can go to the schedule, click on the course page, and then you can tune in at that time via this video here. You can also view the introductory training and the job aid, which are already available. So again, throughout the year, you can return to this schedule to view our other live training opportunities. Now, our readily available or on-demand 450 resources can be found in our course library, and that's the second tab up here at the top. So our library was recently revamped to function more like OGE's legal research search collection. So you can search using the main search bar, and this is going to search within the contents of all of our course pages, including their course materials, the transcripts that are available for the videos. So it's a very big search. Now, unlike the legal research search collection, you can narrow your search a little bit. So if you're looking specifically for a course that's eligible for professional ethics practitioner or PEP credit, you can select yes. If you're looking specifically for videos, so you're not looking for a resource document or a PowerPoint, you can also select yes. And if you've been doing this for a while and you're like, gosh, I wonder if I'm misremembering this, or does this training actually exist? How long ago was this? If you don't see it somewhere, check out searching through our archive and seeing if it's available there. And we do have lots of long history of trainings available in our course library. So that's one way that you can narrow that full text search. And then if you like searching with filters, you can click the Show Advanced Filters here under the main search bar, and that will drop down to show you the 3 filters that are used to organize the contents of our course library. So here we have the subject, citation, and format. Now these filters can help you limit your search if you are hoping to browse through relevant courses on a specific topic. So for example, under the subject filter, you could go ahead and select confidential financial disclosure or 450, and you'll see that we have 14 courses available that are tagged for this subject. Now, if you want to look specifically at the course of study, you can go over here to the format filter and select course of study. Now, this is the course of study that we looked at earlier. So the confidential financial disclosure review course of study. And I just want to point out that there are a couple of courses of study in here, one of which you might want to visit as well for reviewing 450s, and that would be the 18 U.S.C. 208 course of study, so the criminal conflicts of interest statute course of study. And this really could be kind of I don't want to say it's a one-stop shop, but it has so much available on it. So if you are trying to remember where some of these things are located, this might be a good starting point to come here and see where you can find them. And apologies, I do want to point out too that the listserv that we found under the What's New section was also included under the course materials here. So again, another way to find that listserv message. And we wanted to do a bit more of this because we understand many of you probably get lots and lots of emails throughout the day. Those OGE listserv messages can sometimes get buried. And so we want to provide other opportunities for you to access the information that is shared via the OGE listserv. Okay, so back to our course library. Let's change this and look at the continuing education because it looks like there's a lot more available there. So we have 12 courses, and you'll see today's demo, Navigating to OGE's 450 resources up at the top. So again, this is organized by date automatically, so it's going to show you the most recent trainings. But again, if you want to change how the results are displayed, you can simply click on the header. And particularly for trainings, maybe your time is very limited, so you're looking for a course on 450s that's a little bit shorter, something you can watch in between meetings. You could filter by the video length. So if you click on this header, it will change and resort the tables so you can choose a video that is maybe between 0 to 30 minutes versus 60 plus. So again, using the filters is helpful when you are looking for courses on a particular subject, and then you can narrow those down even further. But if you are searching for a course that you know the title of, you can type it into the search bar just above the format column. So again, the search bar functions similarly to the one in the legal research search collection, where it's going to be searching just the contents of this table. So if you're looking for a course for annual filers, like the one we saw on the Resources for Financial Disclosure Filers page, you could type in annual because you know that's part of the title. And then it would automatically pull up that training for you. And then, of course, to access it, you would click on the title, and then it would open to the course page. Now, I mentioned earlier this error code, and I'm experiencing it now. So this happens to me from time to time. And maybe you've noticed this too when you try to access some of our videos from our course pages. So there are different reasons why this might be happening, but there is a solution. So I do want to show you a way to kind of circumnavigate this to still be able to watch our videos. And so that means you would need to go directly to YouTube versus watching it from our course page where it is embedded. So to do that, you would go to YouTube itself to find our YouTube channel. And you would just want to search for Institute for Ethics and Government. And you'll see it here, the small logo for the U.S. Office of Government Ethics, OGE Institute for Ethics and Government. That's us. You would click on it, and you would access our YouTube channel. And so here you could find our training videos, and you would be able to access them in another way, so not on directly from our course pages. And that course that we were just looking at was the one for annual filers. So if I want to quickly pull that up, I'll type in annual filers, and you'll see different videos, but here's the one on how to file an annual confidential financial disclosure report. And so you can click here, and now it shows you the YouTube video. So again, if you run into this error code, one way to come around to find another way to watch our videos is by going directly to our YouTube channel where it will be available. And if you are able to, you can subscribe to our channel to more easily find it going forward and also to receive notifications about new things that we publish. All right, so that is the IEG website. Let's go back to the OGE homepage as there's one last tip I'd like to leave you with. So we're going to return to the OGE website via this link here. And you'll notice in a similar location on the OGE homepage is a search bar. Now, if you cannot recall exactly how we got to some of the 450 resources mentioned in this demo, give this search bar on the OGE homepage a try. So you can type in either 450 or confidential, and it will give you OGE's recommended results at the very top. And you'll notice here that these are many of the resources that we talked about in this demo. So you'll see actual OGE Form 450s themselves, the resources for financial disclosure filers page, the legal research search collection. So all of this would be available here to you if you search for 450 or confidential in this search bar. So we do recommend that you take some time on your own to explore the OGE homepage as well as the IEG website to find what navigational methods and resources work best for you. And that concludes this demo. If you would like to provide feedback, please return to the course page to complete our course evaluation. Thanks again, and we hope you have a very successful 450 season.